This class, we are taking care of your hips. Whether you've been stuck sitting for a while at the desk, in a car, on the airplane, on a bus, on a train, you've been sitting and not moving for longer than you like, your hips are probably very tight. So we're going to create some movement to release that. Now, I want you to think about your body as like this glorious place where you live, and you're here to take care of it and release all that tension. And I invite you to have fun moving your body. Okay? Palms behind you. Place the feet on the mat, lift your chest, and start to pivot the knees over to the right. Keep your chest lifted, not collapsed spine. I want you to really feel the energy of the whole body working together, straight arms. And slowly pivot the legs, the knees over to the left. And then back over to the right. And notice that my knees have enough space so each one can come down. The feet aren't too close together. And go back over to the left. And now go over toward the right, lift your torso up and turn your torso all the way over to the right. And you're going to place both palms down outside your right leg. And keep pushing with straight arms, lift the spine and breathe into the belly, into your ribs, into your lower back. So you get a nice twist. So you're getting into the hips, but everything is connected. Get into that lower back. Get that spine longer. Make sure you're keeping your chest broad. Straight arms, spread the fingers. See what it feels like to breathe in the twist. And now slowly release. And we're going to pivot all the way over toward the left side. Keep pivoting around. Right palm outside the thigh. Keep your chest lifted. And keep breathing into that twist. And how does it feel to twist toward the left? Tall spine, keeping the arms straight, resisting with the arms and the palms. See if you can twist a little bit more. And slowly release back to center. Now, we're going to hammock the legs over to the right, and then hammock the legs over to the left. Hammock the legs over to the right. We're going to play with this. You're going to frame your palms around the right knee. We're going to go into a pigeon variation. Okay, so you're going to start to straighten the left leg, and you might keep the foot where it is, or you might need to bring it in. You'll see that I need to do that on the other side. And all we're going to do is just pivot and rock. So I'm going to curl the toes, and all you're going to do is just shift side to side, oscillate your body side to side, just creating some space. Squeeze the back glute. I want you to feel the hip bones facing the short end of the mat. And keep the arms straight so you're really feeling that support. And if you feel that you keep leaning more to the right, that's okay. We are on the right leg, but just start to create some space. Go slow, there's no rush. And enjoy what your body is doing, opening up. Keep squeezing the back glute, your left glute. It'll help open up the front of the hip and the groin. Okay, and now slowly lean back over to the right. Bend the knees, place the palms behind, and pivot over to the left. And the same thing. Now I'm going to bring my left foot in, stretch out the right leg. So this is my tighter side. I have many injuries, past and maybe some current. And just start to shift side to side. And notice how it feels for you on this side. Is it the same? Is it different? And anytime I ask for inquiry or I suggest inquiry, it's just to notice, to observe, be curious about your body. There's not any judgment. It's just checking in and observing, oh, I'm a little bit tighter on this side. Or maybe you feel a little bit more discomfort. And just notice it without trying to label it. It'll help you in your practice, but also in your life, off the mat. So keep rocking side to side. Notice if you start to get a little bit more opening in that right front of the hip. Keep squeezing that right glute. And now slowly lean over to the left, bend the knee, and we'll hammock the legs one more time, side to side. And now come back to a cross-legged seat. Make a fist and have the elbows close into the body just so you can focus on the wrist joint. We were on the wrist, so knuckles facing forward, and just circle the wrists around, creating some space and taking care of your wrists. And reverse the circles. And notice how this feels every time you do this. And you can do this as often as you need, and I highly recommend it. Okay, now shake them out again. Really shake. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you the side view. We're going to go into another seated position. So have your knees bent, keep your chest lifted, and remember what I said earlier about the spine. You don't want to collapse spine. It's also harder to breathe in this position, but just think about lifting your chest and working your arms, straighten your arms. And you'll notice that I hyperextend, so I have to work a little bit differently. So now you can lean back to take that left ankle over the right quad, or you can slide the foot forward. Well, however you want to get there. And then just adjust so that you have the ankle over the quad. Dorsiflex the foot and actively push the knee away. Now, if this is a little too much, this position, you can change it. Slowly slide the bottom leg forward, and then the leg is not as close to your chest. And give yourself time to explore getting into the position, because I do find it as a really great position to open up the hip, the side glute going into the middle of the glute. There's all kinds of variations of all kinds of poses. So keep the chest lifted and the foot, you want to pretend the sole of the foot is pressing to a wall. And this is a dorsiflex position. Okay, now I'm going to slide my foot back in a little bit. You do what you need to do. And all you're going to do is just rock the legs, oscillate side to side, keeping the energy of this bent leg, your left leg, pushing away from your torso. Straight arms, spreading the fingers. Okay, now we're going to take it up a tiny bit, slide the foot in, the right foot in, and then see how it goes here. Keep the chest lifted, and I'm feeling it more here. Hopefully you are as well. And then maybe go even deeper, sliding the butt closer, and you can walk your palms in. Keep that foot active and just notice if anything changes. Of course, if you feel any knee pain or discomfort, adjust and go into this much less like I suggested earlier. But I just want you to see where your end range is. Always explore what your body is capable of doing, can do, because it just might surprise you. Okay, go for one more breath. And now slowly shift your butt back, move your palms back, slide the right leg forward. And when you lower the leg down, just make sure your ankle is not on your knee joint. Sitting up tall, and just energetically draw that knee down just to see that release right on the side. And what I mentioned before, we're not going to be here long, but if you need a blanket, grab a blanket, but just slowly hinge forward the tiniest bit. I want you to think long spine, hinging from the hip, not your lower back. And you want a dorsiflex foot on both feet. And you should feel a nice stretch in your right calf, back of the knee, maybe all the way up to the hamstring. Your upper body is just adding weight to get into the back side of your right leg. Release the shoulders. Let those elbows hang down and the back of the neck long. And very slowly draw yourself upright. Stretch out the legs and just bounce the knees up and down. And I really want you to just kind of go crazy, bounce the knees up and down. Good, shake it out. And you can shake out your wrist. I always take the opportunity to take care of your wrists, your palms. Okay, let's do the other side. Bend the knees. And now you can also use your hand. I definitely need my hand to cross the ankle over the quad. This is definitely my tighter side. Explore what is for you. So the knee coming closer to the chest. I do want you to work on muscle activation. So activate, push the knee away. Keep the foot dorsiflexed and lift your chest. And just pause and stay there. Breathe into the sensations. Breathe into that opening. And just notice what's coming up as you're working on this side. Maybe this is your easier side. And then from this position, just start to rock, oscillate side to side. Notice if you need to move the bottom leg a little bit further away. And now slowly become still. We're going to try it again, going for that end range. Slide the foot in, move the butt closer, walk your palms in, try going even deeper. And I'm always I like to test myself to see where I can go, see what comes up, even though it can be intense. Keep your chest lifted, so you don't want that collapsed spine. I want you to really push with the arms. Keep the foot dorsiflexed. Breathe into that right outer hip, maybe also where the hamstring is, that sit bone area. Okay, now slowly walk the palms back, walk your butt back a little bit, slide the leg down, and adjust just to make sure the ankle is not on your knee joint. And see if you can let that knee release, that thigh release. Sitting up tall and just slowly hinge forward. See if it's the same amount on this side, what's coming up, and the back of your neck long, so you're not cranking your neck, because when this turtleneck happens, it starts to change everything in the spine as well, because the neck is part of the spine. So I just want you to think about activating, hinging from the hip. You're activating your lower back, your glutes, and hinging from the hip, and maybe you're here, or maybe you're here, or even here. I just want you to pay attention of your spinal alignment, so keeping a long spine. Go for one more breath. Both feet are dorsiflexed. And now slowly come up and shake the legs out. And I just want to show you, so this was the side view for the whole time. I just want to show you front view. So you're playing with going into this position. And yes, you can just move the foot in any direction, but this is how we are when we're in this pose. And let's see if it looks different. Maybe a little bit. I can feel it different with the position, the other side. Okay, so just to keep in mind, you're trying to keep the knee away from the head. Okay, now bring the soles of the feet together and rock side to side so you feel the sit bones. So when you bring the feet closer to the groin, that's Baddha Konasana. This is cobbler's pose. When the feet are further away, this is butterfly, a form of yin pose. So I'm going to invite you to do what feels good for you after the hip work we've done so far. And I will show you from the front view. So either here or you can go here. I wouldn't go much further just because I want you to get a little bit more opening in the groin and into the outer hip. And this is where you can use sitting on the blanket if you need, just so you're not falling backwards, because we are going to hinge forward. So I'm going to come into Baddha Konasana. And just take your fingers, wrap around the toes, long spine, and you can just rock side to side so you feel those sit bones. That helps you ground your pelvis so your spine can lift out of your pelvis, just a form of expression, but so you have space to breathe and you have that length. So whatever position you're in, just slowly hinge forward a tiny bit. And then maybe the knees lower. They won't lower as much if you are in the butterfly position because of the position of the thigh bones and the legs. And just let the shoulders release, the back of the neck long. Feeling the groin opening up, the inner thigh. And just stay there for a second. I'm just going to show you with the other position. You can just even be here. This is exactly how it would go if you're doing this variation, the butterfly variation. And now very slowly come up and bring your feet in a little bit closer. They don't have to be this close to the groin. You can have them a little bit further away, and just pulse the knees, the thigh bones up and down. creating a little bit more space, a little bit more movement, because we're not moving a whole lot. We're holding into certain positions. Okay, so I'm going to turn to the side just for a moment. We're going to come into like a half Baddha Konasana and a half Malasana. So half cobbler, half squat. So left foot is down, left knee, just like we did. And then the right foot is drawing in toward the glute. And all you're going to do, and I want you to try this, see what comes up, see what's possible. And my left palm is behind. I'm going to rotate my chest out toward the bent knee. I should say the lower knee, and then the right tricep is inside the thigh, and I'm just working on this twist, and bend the left elbow so you're not hiking up your shoulder. And maybe you can draw your right sit bone down, but I just want you to play with it, see what comes up, and just notice how the twist feels, because we're working on the hips, but I do feel whenever I practice this myself, getting into the spine always feels a little bit more. It feels good, but a little bit extra that I need. So let me know if you're feeling that as well. Okay, so you're resisting with the fingers, the arms, everything's working together. Stay with your breath. And now slowly release, and let's switch to the other side. And I'm going to actually turn to face you for this one. So my right knee is down, so just pay attention to the right and left, because I do want you to see another perspective. Okay, and now I'm going to turn toward the right and see if you can keep the left knee perpendicular to the floor and keep rotating your chest. Because if the knee falls out, it kind of starts to fall apart. I want you to have some grounding aspect. And then maybe get that left sit bone down as you rotate, and see how this twist feels compared to the first one that we did. This is a little more advanced, you could even say, a little bit compared to the first one. Breathe, keep lifting your chest, straight arms. And slowly release back to center. I'm going to turn to the side of the mat and stretch out the legs, let the knees bounce. Okay, for our last pose, we're going to go into this next position, reverse tabletop, slow and controlled, and I want you to really explore your end range where you can go, opening up the chest and your hips, and just really being focused on your progressions. I don't want you to just try and rush through it. I really want you to explore where you can go. So bending the knees, fingers facing toward the glutes. First of all, lift your chest. You can have a little micro bend in the elbows. And now very slowly start to lift the hips, and you're engaging the glutes but not full max. So maybe you're here, but I want you to make sure you're not collapsing the chest. Open the chest, actively push into the ground. It will feel very empowering. Okay, now keep that lifting and pressing, see where you're going, and keep breathing through it, engaging the glutes, keep lifting and pressing. Lifting, pressing, keep lifting, pressing, and just looking straight up. You're engaging those glutes, pushing the toes, feet into the mat, palms into the mat. Keep lifting and pressing, and very slowly starting to lower it down. Okay, stretch out the legs. We're going to get to the wrist. You're going to take the back of the palms to the mat. Just make sure they're on a soft surface. It won't feel good on the floor. Okay, so I have long arms. This is the best position for me. If your arms are shorter, definitely bring them forward, because you do want the back side, the dorsal side down. I really love this stretch. Many of my students love this stretch, so give it a go, but make sure you're in the right position. So spreading the fingers wide, tall spine, and slowly shift back to get into the wrist, the back side. And then shift forward to release the stretch. We're going to do that 2 more times. Shift back, long spine, spread the fingers, and shift forward to release. 1 more. Shift back, shift forward to release, and now shake it all out. Let those fingers really flop. Okay, so that's it. There you have it. We took care of the hips, got a little bit of that spine included, rotating the spine, getting some twist, and also the wrists. So I would love to know how this went for you. Did you feel a difference before you started, after you continued? And what insights did you have? Let me know in the comments below. And I want you to keep having fun with your body. If you're new to movement or you're re-engaging yourself with movement, take the time to just enjoy the process. Don't worry about the end goal. Just enjoy the time that you have to get on your mat, to get on the floor and just move your body and have fun doing it. And I will see you next time. I am Janelle J. Ross. Thank you for taking class with me.